Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Gustavo Tolosa, the plant powered pianist and your whole food plant based coach and author of Live Your Healthiest Life. And as we wait for just a minute or so until everybody gets in, this is a live webinar and it's being broadcast through um, Facebook and my YouTube channel and also StreamYard. So we're going live on those three platforms. Okay, so I'll just wait a minute or so. I want to invite you to visit my YouTube channel because I have uploaded so many free cooking videos, and I specialize in simple meals that you can put together with three, four ingredients, meals that are easy to prepare, that are inexpensive, and most importantly, that they are delicious. So please visit my YouTube. My YouTube is under um, my website name, which is, I'm going to write it here, which is Plantimas. Okay, so visit my YouTube channel. That's also where I put all of the replays. So this replay will go there as well. Okay, so I invite you there. And one more thing, if you haven't gotten a copy of Shada's and my book here, with a foreword by Chef AJ and many wonderful comments by most of the whole food plant-based doctors and chefs and nutritionists. We want you to know about this book because it took us almost 2 years to 2 years to write, and it's the story of Shada, who has a background in uh, Persian, cuisine, and then mine, which is more Latin America. So anyway, want to invite you to get a copy. It is not, uh, this is an inexpensive book, but it will help us a lot if you can support us. It's available on Amazon. Okay. And if you send us your proof of purchase, we will send you a really, really nice thank you gift, which is a PDF beautifully designed with it's called Gustavo's and Shada's secret Persian and Argentine recipes. Okay, so let's get started today. I just wanted to wait a little bit until everybody got online here. And I'm seeing your comments. Thank you so much for writing. I appreciate it if you write in here where you're joining from, because I just like to know where everybody's coming from. Okay, so let's get started. Um, as I read your messages here, as you all know, I have been whole food plant based for about 12 years. I started with Dr. McDougall. He was my mentor and friend. We did hundreds of webinars together. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. We need to, all of us, we need to mute our microphones. Thank you for saying that. Okay, because if you guys don't mute, then everybody else is going to hear any noise or conversation that is going on in the background. Okay, and we want to have as clean a recording as possible. Okay, so I'm watching here. I can't be watching and talking, too much because I get distracted. So please make sure that you turn off your microphones and when you come in. All right. Later on, Though at the end, if you would like to ask a question or comment, I'll let you know and you can unmute your microphones. All right, so let's get started and talk about this topic that is, well, sometimes controversial. I was saying earlier that I have been whole food plant based for 12 years. I do have a lot of experience, having done hundreds of webinars with many, many doctors and dietitians and chefs, and being a coach myself. So let's talk about this. I thought it was very interesting to hear two of the major figures of whole food plant based talk about this topic. And these two men were Dr. Garth Davis and then Rip Esselstyn, who is the son of the one and only Dr. Esselstyn, who wrote this book, Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. Okay, and Garth Davis has also written a book, and it's called Proteinaholic. So we're talking about people who know a lot about whole food, plant based, and about health in general. So I listened to this webinar that they did about a week ago, and it was a debate of yes oil or no oil. So before we dive into the discussion of no oil, we need to ask ourselves the most obvious question, which I thought maybe it wasn't asked or presented in during the debate. And I think it is a very important question. And the question is olive oil or any type of oil a whole food? Whole, as WHOLE, whole food. Well, of course, the obvious answer is no. So then this webinar would end now, okay? Because if we are eating a whole food plant-based diet, then eating foods that are not whole and highly processed is out of the question. But we're not going to finish this webinar right now. If we are committed to following a whole food plant-based diet, oil, in my opinion, is simply out. But it is not that black and white, I think. I think that there are things to consider, and that's why I like to share my point of view, and then ask you what you think. So let's take it a step further. Is tofu a whole food? No. The whole food is the soybean. Is peanut butter a whole food? No, the whole food is the peanut, and so on. We could have other examples. These foods or substances like oil are missing either fiber, water, or both, which means they're not whole. So, what happens when you have less water in a food? Well, the calories go up. The less fiber, the higher the calorie density as well, and the lower the satiety point. That means that we don't feel full and we want to eat more. And also, the higher and faster the sugar spikes in our blood when we don't have all of the fiber and water in the whole food. So, the question is, are these foods that I just mentioned automatically unhealthy? Well, the answer is not necessarily. It largely depends on each person's situation and where you are in your whole food plant-based journey. For me personally, I am at a point where I don't see any use for olive oil or any kind of oil. I have arrived at this point in my journey, but the answer to this question would have been different 10 years ago. I literally can't think of where I would add oil or why, just because I haven't used it in such a long time that I don't know how to use it. Would it be harmful to somebody like let's say, the Walking Dead patients that Dr. Esselstyn was treating in the study that is presented in his book? Probably it would be harmful. If not, most likely, obviously, Dr. Esselstyn did not allow anybody in the study unless they agreed to certain rules. And one of the rules was no oil, no matter what kind of oil. Now, would extra virgin olive oil kill a 25-year-old healthy person? Probably, I mean, not immediately. Maybe it would gradually create inflammation and damage the endothelial cells of the arteries, but the answer is difficult to give because we don't know a lot of the other variables of that person. So, what's the right decision for you right now? That's exactly where I want to start today. I line up very much with Rip Esselstyn in the in when he was in the debate, and he was talking about how we're all different, and not only different physically and emotionally and psychologically, but also different at which point we are in our journey. So I simply don't use oil. I don't even think about it. It's not a part of my cooking, my grocery list, or my meals. Like I said earlier in this, before we started before we started, sorry about that, the webinar. In in the book that Shada and I wrote here, none of our recipes, whether they're Persian, Argentine, American, Spanish, Italian, don't matter where they're from, we don't use oil in any of of our food. So also, my whole food, my 7-day detox and reset program that I do online every month revolves around learning how to make simple meals free of oil. So here's the real question: would a little oil kill a whole food plant based eater? Well, honestly, I don't know. It's a complicated question with too many variables. But here is what I thought that was missing in the in this webinar that Esselstyn and Dr. Davis did. I think that uh, they were talking about studies, especially Dr. Davis. But I immediately asked myself, who were these people in the studies? I think that this is very important for our answer. Were the people in these studies that were showing benefits of using the um, oil, the olive oil, the extra virgin olive oil, were these people standard American diet eaters or standard um, junk food eaters? Or were they people that were following more of what some call the Mediterranean diet? Or were they vegetarians? Were they vegans? Were they strictly whole food plant based followers? Was it a random combination of all of these? In my, I have the background with Dr. McDougall, who again was my mentor, my friend, from whom I learned most of what I know. Um, and I learned from him that it is very important how a study or studies are, developed and planned. So the population matters, and it matters a lot. If someone is eating a standard junk food diet filled with fried foods and processed junk, then of course switching to adding a little bit of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, maybe in their mind they were doing something healthier, and they were perhaps being more careful of what they ate, or maybe they switch to a Mediterranean diet with olive oil. And in that case, the study would show a benefit, but not precisely because we were adding olive oil, but because the person maybe was eating healthier, or instead of using butter or grease or some kind, they were using olive oil. But what about somebody like me, or like some of you here, who eat a clean, whole food, plant based diet made entirely of whole foods? Would adding extra virgin olive oil offer the same benefits to us? Would it reduce inflammation if we have any inflammation? Would it keep it the same? Would it make it worse? Well, that important question, at least for now, and at least for me, remains unanswered. Okay. Because what I would like to see is a study that is designed with only a population of whole food plant based followers that were using no oil, and now they were adding extra virgin olive oil. And I would like to see what happens. I would like to see if their general health improves, stays the same, or deteriorates. So to me, and this is why I wanted to do this webinar, because to me, that is the most important factor that nobody talked about. Okay, so another important point is who sponsors these studies. As you all know, digging into who funded and who organized research takes real skill. They don't make it easy. Many times, really health professionals can find out, or I've learned to do it, but it takes a while. Bias can be hidden deep within study designs and interpretations. So we would need to carefully see if any of these studies were funded by olive oil, producers. So in a Facebook post yesterday, I read somebody's comment about omega-3 and 6 balance, and saying how olive oil helps with that. Well, there are much healthier ways to get this crucial balance of omega-6 and 3. And actually, I recently did a webinar with Dr. Brenda Davis. And the topic was about omega fatty acids and omega-3 and 6. And there are other ways, like chia seeds, quinoa, walnuts, hemp seeds, seaweed, edamame. Okay, you don't have to have oil. It's not necessary. You can get that balance we're looking for with real whole foods. So what is my standpoint? If you want to convince me that using extra virgin olive oil cold press, first press is beneficial for a whole food plant-based eater, then I would have to see a specific study that tested only whole food plant-based followers, not everybody thrown together in one study. Otherwise, it's too vague and it leaves too many open questions. So I want to know in just a minute, I'm about to finish. I'd like to know in just a minute what you think about this. If you also thought that this important piece of the puzzle, which is who these people, the population, of these studies were, if that was something that came to mind. Okay, now Dr. Davis also said something that made me think. Okay, because I used to say, if you're going to consume olive oil, why not eat the olives themselves? I used to say that, and sometimes I would add a few black olives to my salad. Seldom, but I would sometimes. But I am not going to say that anymore because he reminded me of something that is very important. Once, not long ago, I had a chance to tour an olive oil factory. And so they took us to the fields to see the trees. Then I saw the process of making extra virgin olive oil, first press, cold press. I mean, it was, I guess, the purest type of oil because they were showing how the remnants of what they used, they would be sold to other producers and they would add chemicals, etc. But I remember walking through these fields, and the person let us taste a real olive from a tree. And so let me tell you, okay, olives, just like that, without being cured, they taste horrible. So I shouldn't, and I'm not going to say anymore that if you're going to include olive oil in your food, you should just eat the olives because it's impossible to eat this. They're bitter, tough, not at all like the ones cured and packaged in brine at the supermarket. Nothing like that. So think about this. It takes about 20 olives, more or less, depending on the type and the size, about 20 olives to make 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Most people don't use a tablespoon. I mean, when I see people use olive oil, they pour it like it's water. So they would probably have to eat the equivalent to 200 or 300 olives at once to get the same amount of olives. So not only raw olives are disgusting to eat, but if they tasted good, you would have to eat hundreds of them to get the same amount that you're using in an oil. So Rip Esselstyn shared how his father, Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, documented dramatic recoveries in patients with advanced cardiovascular disease, and no oil was part of the healing protocol. Okay, so let me add somebody here. Okay. All right. So let's see. Hold on, because there are people coming in, and I want to make sure they're there. So, if you have this book, you might want to read and look at the actual, scans and everything that shows the improvement of the endothelial cells before and after the study. This is an incredible book that should be in everybody's shelf. So um, again, it's powerful evidence, not just theory, and a study that was well designed and very specific with real life transformation in some of the sickest patients that you could find. Finally, like Rip Esselstyn, I believe there's no one size fits all answer. Each case must be considered individually. And that's exactly what I preach, what I do, what I say, what we do in our 7-day program. I just guide people through a process of careful observation, adjustment, and personal attention. So, to wrap it up, I don't use any type of oil for me. The risks outweigh any of the so called benefits. I think I can get the same benefits or nutrients. Really, most of the nutrients in the olive oil are taken out, and there's no fiber, of course, or water. And especially when I'm already eating a clean, whole food, plant-based diet, I just don't see the use of oil unless I wanted to fry something, which at this point is totally out of the question because of all of the oxidation and all of the negative effects of heating up oil. But I encourage all of you to think critically and ask the right questions, and always listen to your body, which is what's gonna tell you the answer. So with that said, if you have any questions about what I shared, or if you have any comments, I do see comments here, which I'm going to read. Let's see. Linda says, I have not had any oil in my kitchen for over 10 years and follow a whole foods diet. But the one place I have truly missed a tiny bit of olive oil is when baking vegetables. Okay. I think they tasted better when I used some olive oil on them. After listening to Dr. Davis, I am considering using a tiny bit to my vegetables, adding them that I bake in the oven, still thinking about it. Honestly, for you, Linda, or anybody listening, if I had to use oil, if I had to for some reason, I would use the extra virgin olive oil, first press, cold press, but I would never heat it up. Okay, the free radicals that are released um, that will damage so many of our cells inside our body is too high a price to pay for a few moments of bliss. So if I had to add oil, um, I mean, I guess in a salad, but I've gotten used to using balsamic, delicious California balsamic vinegars, so I don't see that the point. Sometimes I do want to have that fat feeling to calm down, the brain that constantly keeps wanting fat. But so in those cases, I will slice half of an avocado and add it, or I will massage the avocado into the kale or something like that. So it's still a whole food that keeps the fiber and the water, and I'm not heating it up. So I would not heat up oil. There are ways to roast vegetables and have them taste good with some spices and a few techniques to make them really crunchy. So Sid says Cordioprev study was partially funded by the Olive Communal Heritage Foundation. According to their website, is dedicated to implementing initiatives that benefit the entire olive oil sector. Well, that's very interesting because it's those little details go by. I haven't looked at it, so but now that you mention it, I will. But these are the things that we have to be very careful uh, when reading these research or studies. Sid says, "I've been looking closely at the card." Okay, totally agree. No oil for me. I trust Dr. McDougall and Dr. Esselstyn. Dr. Davis did comment that we do not have to use. That is true. When given the chance to say whether we must, where it's needed that we consume olive oil, he said, no, it is not. It is a matter of personal choice. One more thing to mention: olive oil has been used by people for centuries and millennia. Okay, so what were they eating it with, and how much, and what was their lifestyle? I mean, all those can maybe make some difference. But the truth is that we live in today's world full of ultra processed foods with a lifestyle that creates um, uh, irritation, that creates inflammation. So we do have to um, read. I know it takes time and effort, but if we want to have as good a uh, lifestyle as possible as we age, it is important that we continuously learn and read serious research. Sid says the good news: we can get um, polyphenols and even more antioxidants from whole foods. Yeah, it's not. It's not necessary to have the olive oil. All right. So everybody, you are welcome to continue writing here, or if you want to unmute your microphone and say something, just know that if you say something or if you appear on the screen, you will be seen by everybody and it stays recorded. So if you don't want to be seen or heard, then go ahead and just type. Otherwise, feel free to unmute and talk. Any questions about oil, or really we could have a few more minutes of an interesting chat conversation about any other topics. I'll just stay around. Okay. All right. Well, I hope that you found the debate interesting. And I am a believer that you learn something, no matter what. We just have to be open to learning. Did it have as much information as I would have liked? No, I would have liked to see more, but still, I learned something. Dr. Garth David brought up a couple of points that really made me think, and then Rip Esselstyn said so many important. He brought up so many important points. Okay. Well, as we leave, I'm just going to talk for a few minutes, and you can interrupt me at any time. As we leave today, I will upload 2 more videos to my YouTube channel where I make a casserole. I love casseroles, and where I make a carrot cake bites. It's called. So they will be in my YouTube channel in a couple of hours. Make sure if you want to watch that. Those 2 recipes come from the Forks Over Knives magazine. And then if you want more recipes, I have a bunch of easy recipes. And again, I invite you to get our book, Live Your Healthiest Life, that Shada and I wrote, and that Chef AJ wrote the forward, and that Glenn Mercer also helped us put together. It's available on Amazon, and we will appreciate your help and support. And if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, then, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to like 30,000 subscribers, and so that I will continue to make all of these interesting videos. Okay, Deb says, thank you. This was interesting. I haven't bought oil in years, but once in a bly in a blue moon, I guess, take out food, spring rolls make their way into my home, and I feel terrible after eating them. When will I learn? I know it's just the human nature. um I don't use it, I don't have it in my home, but when I go to eat, which I really try to minimize to the limit, well, usually I end up with a boring salad. Sometimes it's a good salad, and I take my own balsamic vinegar, or I may have a baked potato with a salad. But sometimes, if I have, a veggie pizza, I know there's some oil in the dough. Or if I have whole wheat spaghetti, and I ask for steamed vegetables and the sauce on the side, well, I know there's some oil there. So I am not totally obsessed, because in my case, that's not a way of living. But at the same time, I am very careful about putting oil in my body. So Desi says, how do you make popcorn without oil? Yeah, I don't make popcorn. I'm sorry. I don't know how to make it. If anybody here makes popcorn without oil, there is a machine many years ago. I don't know, 35, I don't know, 40 years ago. There was that machine that had like a dome, and I think it was, and it turned, and I think you could make popcorn with no oil. Also, perhaps in an air fryer, or I think they sell machines that will pop it with just air. Otherwise, instead of popcorn, what I make is I cook chickpeas, then I put smoked paprika, or onion powder, or garlic powder, or something that I like, and I sprinkle them so that it sticks, and I bake them, and they're very crunchy and delicious, almost like popcorn, but obviously not the same. Sorry to come late. I am anti oil, Dorothy says. I find it sad that plant based gurus are becoming wishy washy about the subject. Again, it's just, it is what it is. And I think it's good to listen to what others have to say. Sometimes it is confusing, I admit it, especially somebody who is a beginner and just they're just starting to eat whole food, plant based. It can be confusing to hear so many different voices. But yes, I agree with you. It's I no oil as well. Hot air popcorn popper. Yeah. Okay. So that's right. Air popcorn machine. Our pampered chef has a bowl for the microwave you can use without oil. Okay. So as Dr. McDougall always said, people love to hear good news about their bad habits. Yeah, that is true. The good old paper bag and the microwave. It's delicious. Yes, I don't know about microwave anymore. I'm not obsessed about it, anything really, especially if somebody wants to eat it, it's their business. So I'm not obsessed about the microwave, but I am leaning toward not using it anymore because of what I've been learning lately. I like to constantly learn more and more and read research. So, but it's if you're gonna eat popcorn every now and then, mm, as long as it doesn't have oil. Remember that popcorn is a hand to mouth food that is usually eaten in some form of a mindless state, and so it's easy to overeat it because the water is out. Remember, the less water a food has, the higher the calories go. It just goes the opposite. Water down, calories up. So, if weight loss is not an issue, it's okay. But if you are trying to lose a few more pounds, you do want to avoid food that doesn't have all the water and all the fiber in it because the calories are higher and the satiety level is lower. So you're going to eat more, and eating more means more calories, and calories do count. Okay, so what do you put on your baked potato in a restaurant? I have learned a trick that does it for me. I don't know if you tried it, but putting what do you call it? Well, if I eat it at home, I make my own oil-free hummus. Okay, um, but what else do I put? No, I just put my veggies. Sometimes I may sprinkle a little bit of salt and some pepper, and yeah, so I just eat it like that. I've got a lemon juice is good, and one of the really interesting combinations you may not think it's good until you try it is mustard. If you haven't tried it, try dipping little bits of the baked potato in mustard that you have on your side. I think you're going to love it. When I eat a baked potato at a restaurant, I ask for a side of salsa. That's another thing. Thank you so much, Linda. So you have salsa, you have mustard. I mean, hummus in a restaurant is probably not a good choice because many times it's loaded with oil, so that's probably not a good idea. All right. Thank you, Gustavo. I wish I could join now live, but I'm in route to an event. All right, very good. I will upload this replay on my YouTube channel later on today, and it will also be in my Facebook page. And I invite you, if you've never tried my 7-day detox and reset program, is an awesome community. We have so much fun for a week where we meet twice a week live for breakfast and dinner. And the results are truly amazing. And so this year, as a way to help more people, I have taken out the fee, and it's totally donation based. So if you're interested in participating, one of my 7-day programs is coming up soon on April 21st. Send me an email, and I can send you the information. By the way, my email is info@plantimus.com, which I'm going to put here so that you all can see it. All right. Thank you for taking the time to join me on a Saturday, and I hope to see you in one of my next webinars or videos or programs. Bye bye, everyone. Thank you.